Okay, so let me start.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Get up there. Ready? Go ahead. There we go. Court will come to order. Prosecution, would like to continue?
No, this is the defense.
Oh, it's the defense.
It's the defense, remember?
They're asking still some more questions. Go ahead. I'm letting you
Constitution given rights, man.
Going back to the review of yesterday, did you receive military and economic assistance from Russia with the Bay of Pigs?
No, we didn't receive any type of military assistance from Russia before the Bay of Pigs.
Okay, and secondly, was there any form of communism in Cuba before the Bay of Pigs?
No, the only so-called communism would be our so-called lovely leader, Batista, and that was it.
Okay. Alright, now I'd like to introduce, I'd like to introduce to the courtroom a charge of perjury against the witness. Firstly, Dan's absent, but the evidence we presented yesterday suggested that there was military assistance in Cuba, and
yes, I would like to present evidence saying that it was not from Russia, but instead from Czechoslovakia. The court would like to bring it on down.
Review the
that's it. Same copy. I'd like to say that this merely suggests that weapons were received from Cuba and does not, for Czechoslovakia, and does not say that weapons were not received from the Soviet Union.
If you read earlier, it says the first aircrafts were delivered in mid-1961 at the earliest.
But I ask opposing counsel, was there an agreement to receive weapons before the Bay of Pigs?
Was it received, though, was the question you asked?
That's irrelevant. Was there an agreement?
Mr. Massey, you asked me where I got my... We'll make a decision based on the relevant evidence at a later date. We would like to find all documents from both sides and review them before we make our decision.
Documents will be presented tomorrow. However, I would ask Castro what tanks were used to attack the forces at the Bay of Pigs. They weren't American tanks, were they?
Like I said before, when we received our weapons, we had originally appealed to Western nations. That includes the United States, like West, like Wild Wild West, that type of deal.
That name
No,
nothing to do with the question.
Let me finish.
Will the judge direct the
Witness, please answer the question.
Well, let me finish, or I will. Furthermore, I'd like to add, only at that point in time did we request any type of weaponry from Eastern nations. And tanks that we did use, they were not for attack, but for defense, since I think we were attacked.
Obviously.
So now you're saying that you did in fact receive weapons from the Soviet bloc.
They were weapons from Czechoslovakia.
Yes, which happens to be from the Soviet bloc.
He's putting words in his mouth. He's saying, so you did say.
Oh,
Like I said,
not leave the witness when cross-examining. You're going to examine the rules.
That's not legal.
We can have a debate about that too.
please. Objection overruled.
So you're saying you did receive, wait a second. You did receive it from the Soviet Union too, because it says Czechoslovakia and Soviet Union here. What is the prosecution trying to do? Mislead the justices? It says Jose Ramon Fernandez said that the first arms from Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union began arriving late in 1960. Where is that? We would like to submit misleading of the court, contempt of court, and perjury on this account and his account.
Obviously, you can't perjure lawyers. Shut up.
Motion for perjuring the officer.
You can't perjure lawyers, so shut up.
But we will review the evidence.
No, the first jet aircraft was delivered in 1961.
You're right, but this one says 1960.
We're talking. No, it's right here. It's a continuation.
Yes, it says right here. It says the first arms from Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union began arriving in 1960. How can you deny it? It was evidence you submitted, and you're submitting it truthful.
We're talking with
We'll review the evidence at a later date. Mr. Damascus, please.
Here, take it.
We're talking about the tanks and everything else too.
Yes,
We said military assistance.
See, yesterday he said we were using machine guns. What are we
Obviously,
trying to do here?
impeach the witness, the motion to for perjury against the witness, and quite possibly against falsely leading their witness into the perjury is the prosecution. I guess that's really all with Castro.
All motions will be considered. If you have any further questions of the witness.
No, I respectfully submitted that prosecution had burned themselves enough.
I would also like to state here that yesterday Castro did admit that the arms were given, that they had machine guns, were using Soviet machine guns. We're talking about the planes here. That was the issue. And that does
We'll review the testimony.
You want to look at the question, this thing
I know,
going to ask?
today I realized, yes, but I would like to point out that what was accomplished yesterday was stated that he did state that the Soviet...
As I said, we will review his testimony. Would you like to call it?
That's why I was just like to point that out at the time.
Next witness, please.
The prosecution calls Cordell Hull.
You need to call us.
That's nothing to have there. It's just, they can't read it. We're talking about the chest. We already said the machine gun.
Yes, they do.
We don't even know what is through our face.
You're going to ask their questions of the witness?
Yes, calm down. Who are you and what is your job?
I'm Cordell Hull, and I was Secretary of State to FDR.
What year?
1933 to 1944.
And at the Montevideo Conference, what did you do there?
Well, we tried to establish better relationships with the Latin American countries and initiate a policy of non-intervention and good neighborism.
What were your goals as outlined by President Roosevelt?
Well, President Roosevelt issued a statement on September 6th saying that the United States desires that a complete and constant information about Cuba shall be available for the Latin American countries. The United States has absolutely no desire to intervene and is seeking every means to avoid intervention. And the key of American policy in regard to Cuba is that Cuba shall obtain quickly government of its own choosing and one capable of maintaining order.
And what was decided at the conference?
Well,
were his goals met?
Yes, the conference was very successful, and in Article 8 of the conference, it stated that no state has the right to intervene in the internal or external affairs of another.
And the United States agreed to this?
Yes, we did.
At the time. And in your expert opinion, what do you think of this Cuba pigs tobacco?
This obviously has nothing to do with the Bay Pigs.
Are you objecting?
I'm objecting to this. This is like sheer.
You're going to blow yourself off.
No, I'm not going to commit your.
You're burning, so shut up.
I would suggest that you would be in contempt, by the way. I object because
You're all bordering on contempt.
I object because it's sheer speculation. He is dead. He was dead during that Bay of Pigs. He has no way he could have reviewed the evidence properly. At the time, he was rotting away in Arlington.
He's dead.
I'm not the same.
Why don't you call Mark?
We haven't called for a mark. When they
Call
come,
him as an expert witness on international affairs.
Are you calling
we would have had to thoroughly review.
All right, go ahead.
They asked me a question, therefore.
Okay, you're supposed to say that.
I still have another question. How many money
That's good. You get this one.
I'm here in spirit.
Yes, it's a rate.
Yeah, everything's
The
fine.
judge with the gavel is in charge of handing out contempt citations. There's none of bail.
No? Okay.
Right?
Fine.
Lawyers get out of hand, you find contempt, the points are taken over to individual and team grades. So keep them in order. Because you will lose points.
During your term, during when you were Secretary of State, were there any precedents set for non-intervention?
Yes, at Cuba, when the Soviet government collapsed, this was right before the Montevideo Conference, we did not intervene, even though the government did collapse.
It was more Roosevelt's policy carried into the Montevideo Conference.
Yes, we were trying to show our good neighbors like it.
And that's it. Thank you very much, Mr. Hall. Your witness.
Defense. What are your questions?
No, we can just request a recess of 2 minutes.
Recess? Thank you, Chair. Court will begin.
As a diplomat, do you realize the necessity to compromise and judge the situation using situational tactics and ethics? Namely, at the time, you might have to go against a certain rule that was established previously.
Objection based on the fact that we did not talk about compromise or any type of thing like that.
The prosecution itself already indicated that they were calling this as an expert witness for diplomacy in such matters. Thus, since they already indicated that, I'm just asking him questions which would be very pertinent to his diplomatic status and as a diplomatic expert.
Nonetheless, we still never asked a question on that.
You said he was a diplomatic expert.
Please.
That's all I
Objection
have to
overruled.
say.
Well,
Can you repeat the question again?
okay. As a diplomat, do you realize the necessity to compromise when certain situations arise?
Yes, I do.
And you realize that sometimes you have to use situational ethics and tactics as opposed to just going with a precedent that could have been established before.
Objection. This is all ethical. It has no law.
No, we're talking once again.
This is a
it's
court
my
of
same
law.
argument. That was the same question I asked previously.
I agree with Mr. Ginsburg. It was the same question, and I did overrule your objection previously. Sit down.
Well, do you recognize that necessity?
Yes, but we did not do any compromising at the Montevideo Conference. We just
I know, but could you see a situation that you might have to step out of line with the Montevideo Conference? I mean, is it possible as a diplomat, you might be able to recognize?
This is a hypothetical question. I mean,
Yes,
we brought up the possibility of the basic scenarios hypothetical, and he's bringing up situations.
Just as other, I did not indicate a certain situation. All I said is,
That's correct.
Do you see it as
I
possible?
can see you're asking if a situation might be compromised, but an actual situation that you're giving him, which is totally hypothetical.
I'm not doing that, though.
Sustained.
I'm not giving a specific one. I'm saying just
Continue with your questioning to another man.
Do you see it possible that the United States could step out of line with the exact wording of the Montevideo Conference? No, it isn't. It was reworded. Listen, if you call him as a diplomatic expert, you have to be willing to allow us
Giving
to ask
hypothetical
him.
situations about the conference, he can't answer.
The Montevideo Conference is exactly what they call him up for. They asked him all about the Montevideo
Objection is
Conference.
sustained, Mr. Ginsburg.
Alex, just to what they put it out.
Okay, is this general now? Do you see that an international treaty might be broken by the United States, or slightly, or not taken word for word if the situation demands it?
Yes.
I can take the floor to a colleague.
You said that there's no state have to get the question first. Yeah.
Just like
Or yes.
anybody will break the law.
You said that there's no state has the right to intervene. Did they specify like what intervention they had no right for? Like what type of intervention, military intervention, economics? They specify that?
Not that I know of.
Okay, thank you very much.
Does defense have any further questions?
Yes. This matter of I really need to straight Senapista. That's it. Okay. In the matter of S, this didn't involve an out of hemisphere power, did it? This was an entirely internal revolt, correct?
Yes, as far as I know.
Okay. Thank you.
No further questions?
Nothing else?
I think that's all for now.
Okay. Prosecution may call the next witness.
You call Dag Hammarskjöld, Secretary General of the UN.
Go ahead. Bring your next witness.
We ask for a 2-minute recess.
Yes, granted.
Mike,
2-minute recess.
why would you complain when we asked to
Okay, Roberto Aleos.
Wait a second.
Roberto Aleos.
Wait. Should this record light go on?
Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Turn around and see the numbers.
Counters go.
Roberto Aleos. Just don't press it again.
Is there a phantom lawyer for Roberto Aleos?
Mr. Ginsburg.
Yeah. I am so there. You just can't say it. Senor Aleos. ¿Qué pasa?
Bueno. You know Spanish. Guatemala.
No siento.
Siéntese.
What? Okay. What president? In the you explained all about what happened with the supposedly CIA men, etc. What president, the United States president, was in power during this time?
What time? When they came and approached me? Or
Yes.
the time of the training?
Yes, and the initiation of the training. When they first approached you?
They first approached me during Eisenhower's.
Of course. And when they started initiating the training, when was that?
During Eisenhower's presidency.
Okay, thank you.
And it ended during Kennedy's.
Should be stricken from the record as it wasn't asked for the question. It was just us further adding on by the witness.
Granted.
Yes, King.
That's really all. Any further questions? For you?
Any further questions?
That's all for
El Presidente then?
Yeah.
You want the president?
El Presidente.
Unigores?
Yeah.
Okay. President Unigores. Why did I-U-R-S? Why
Do we have counsel?
O-R-A-S.
Recess. That's for half a minute.
Half a minute.
So granted.
Court will come to order. Mr. Ginsburg.
Tiene años. Well, I might as well just repeat my questions. When the supposed CIA operatives approached you, when they first approached you, who was president during that time? The United States first.
Eisenhower.
And when they initiated training,
Began it?
when they began it, exactly.
Eisenhower.
Okay. Everyone you really you dealt with was you suspected of being a CIA member, at least from what was under your direct examination previously.
Suspected?
You thought it was a CIA operative, correct?
For the exception of Robert Kendall Davis, who was first secretary.
Yes, but however, when we objected to that and that was sustained, we had that stripped from the record because you had absolutely no idea.
That he was who he was?
Yeah,
He was an American official.
He was an American official, but you said you thought he was CIA.
Well, it doesn't matter. He approached me with a CIA matter to initiate the training of troops.
So he was a CIA member.
I can't speculate on that, but he was a member of the United States government. He was first secretary to the ambassador of Guatemala.
Okay, no further questions.
Prosecution. Next witness.
Do we have time?
Yeah,
we have time. Okay. Dag? You calling Dag Hammarskjöld just like you were going to
Thanks.
Secretary General.
Yes, Secretary General.
Swearing?
documents need to be organized. Say your name and job.
Dag Hammarskjöld, Secretary General of the United Nations.
And when were you Secretary General until?
Could you please speak up? Direct your witness at least to speak up.
1969.
Uh,
I mean 60. 1961.
I'll just clarify that.
1960.
In the UN Charter, which the United States signed, what does it say about relationships between nations?
Well, it says that it's going to be resolved by a comment by all the nations together. The United Nations will decide for the common interest to keep peace, to keep the statutes of international law.
I think that's all my questions for you. Yes, I will. Wait, hold on a second.
Okay. Hold on a second.
Yeah, just like that. Would you say, in your expert opinion, that the Bay of Peace invasion was a violation of the UN Charter as it stood? Charter as it stood.
I would say since it violated international law,
Okay.
it was an attack on another country.
I'd like to point out that she was alive at the time. Thank you very much.
Can you prove that?
Your witness defense.
They haven't asked for
Recess of 15 seconds.
Mr. Ginsburg, please.
There's an air of unpreparedness about this case.
Well, add to whatever you want.
Yeah. Your Honor, due to the limited time constraints, I want to start a lengthy cross-examination. 5 minutes left. We take a recess till tomorrow.
So, I presume that.
started now.
All right.
Why would you let people
You stated in your testimony that it was a violation of Bay of Pigs. Are you stating that
Bay of Pigs? Is that
that Bay of Pigs is a violation of the UN Charter? Excuse me. Are you stating that it was a foreign intervention or a domestic intervention?
By domestic intervention, how could it be a domestic intervention?
I mean, domestic, a revolution within the country. You're stating that the Bay of Pigs was a violation. So are you, on your expert testimony, are you stating that it was a revolution within the country or a foreign intervention?
Well, how does that connected?
That's your lawyer.
Witness will be directed to answer testimony, not questions.
Can you let me finish? Can you restate your question please?
It's, I mean, was the United States, was it a foreign intervention or was it a revolution in Cuba? I mean, that's like,
Foreign intervention.
it was foreign intervention.
The United States.
Look around.
That's why it's a violation of international law. Because
how would you qualify the Bay of Pigs as a foreign intervention?
well, the United States intervened with another country.
How did they intervene?
Because they participated in the invasion of Cuba.
Do you mean that American soldiers or authorized American officials actually stormed upon the beaches?
The CIA was behind the invasion, which is the United States.
I would submit that the Cuban Revolutionary Council, as the previous evidence, was behind the invasion.
I would like to remind Alex, since he was not here yesterday, that we presented evidence that showed the Cuban Revolutionary Council was actually a puppet of the CIA.
However, we had
That's all well and good, but are you making any objection?
I would like, he was not here yesterday, I would like to get more of that. So obviously, it's other judges, other lawyers got to.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So that what is taken as is false.
Judges appreciate it.
Under direct examination, you said that it was an attack on Cuba.
America participated in an attack on Cuba.
No, not participate. You said America attacked this country.
I said
You want us to get the videotape out and show it?
Certainly.
No, I object.
She said
I
participated.
asked if it was in violation.
Whether you asked or not. You said
Whether you asked or not is
you said
irrelevant.
America attacked.
Would allow him to continue his question.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I objected to.
I'll be so smart. Word for word. He knows so well everything. Always could be
It's true.
Okay.
Paul Harvey.
So, council.
10 second recess, please.
God, you guys
No more recess. Continue your question.
No, just freezing the ball before the bell rings.
Hey. You guys recess more than in elementary school.
As an expert testimony, would you state that economic assistance to a country is in violation of the UN Charter?
Are you trying to say that the United States only intervened for economic assistance?
Direct the witness to respond to the question, not another
Rephrase the
question.
question so she can understand it.
Are you trying to say you have to
Is economic assistance in violation of the UN Charter? It's a simple question.
D. Jane Rose.
not if it's in trade, not if it's only related to trade?
That's
a direct answer.
That's a direct answer.
That is a direct answer,
All
but where
right.
do you want?
Is the giving of money from one country to another in violation of UN Charter? Not
Objection.
of
Can you
trade.
please specify if he's talking about giving him money for military aid specifically, or giving him money for sugar trusts? Could you please specify? Because
That's no objection, but if you wish him to specify the nature of the
I'm
question.
asking in general, not for military, for non-military use.
Yes.
He has no requirement to specify the exact nature of the thing.
Well, he's leading her into it. So
Mr.
we
Damascus,
don't
please say
request
that.
things.
He's not.
I know it's not wrong to lead, but could you please specify? Because this is a very confusing question. What is he
I
referring
think the
to?
witness understands the nature of the question, and I'm sure she's capable of answering.
Oh, yeah.
Now, please. Your objections are.
Or could you please answer the question?
Repeat the question.
Yeah. Is economic aid of a non-military nature in violation of UN Charter?
I would not say so.
All right. And now, is military assistance in violation of the UN Charter?
Military assistance, as in just giving.
Just giving weapons to another country, is that in violation of the UN Charter?
Yes, if it leads to disruption of the common peace.
Just answer the question
I just
in
answered the
response to the
Mr. Fowler,
parameters
she
of the
answered the
question.
question sufficiently for the court's.
All right, let me rephrase the question. Is military assistance, just the blatant giving of weapons, regardless of the result, is that in violation of the UN Charter?
I would think you'd have to know the result.
I
If
gotta
you're just getting
Why would you have to know?
Objection.
Why would you have to know
The
the
UN
result?
Charter has obviously a council that determines whether or not it's a violation of specific incidents. If you'd like to give a specific incident and ask for expertise on that, then that's obviously what
Just say that
our point
intervention is violation.
You cannot just say is it because in some instances it's not. If we gave military aid to the Russians, that's not considered supposedly.